or at least
True Opinion Podcast.
Hey, welcome to this episode of the True Opinion Podcast. I'm your host, Adontaus. And in this episode, I'm just gonna, listen, one of the reasons why I love True Opinion is because I kind of treat it like my personal diary. A lot of the things that I have talked about have come from conversations with friends, situations in my life, stuff that I just, I wanted to explore more. I wanted to talk more about. I wanted to share my true opinion on. I wanted to get it out. So this episode is going to be very deeply personal, and I'm going to be as honest as I can be. Well, I'm going to be completely honest, and I'm going to try to edit what I need to try to preserve some people's privacy. But at the same time, I really just have to be true to me. And so in this episode, I'm going to talk to y'all about my family. And it's gonna be a little difficult because right now my family and I are not in the best place. Um, to be honest, to be completely honest, I have not really spoken with my immediate family in a while. Not a good family type conversation. It hasn't been a hey, how you doing in a long time. Probably maybe over a year. And maybe some of it is my fault. Maybe some of it is theirs. But it's been weighing on me very heavily. And I've been talking to my husband a lot about it. It's been affecting my mood at home. I think it's been affecting my mood at work somewhat. And it's just been a lot. And it's been building up and building up and building up. So it's time for some of it to come out. And some of this is me trying to work out how I feel and get to maybe the root of the problem. A lot of it is me telling my side of the story and just trying to figure out, am I wrong? Did did I do something wrong? Do I need to, like, just what needs to happen? Because I swear to y'all, I am largely confused. And that is really not a state that I like to be in. I really like to be in control of my emotions. I like to be certain of what I'm thinking and feeling. So this kind of confusion and this hurt and this uncertainty, this is all very new territory for me. And I don't fucking like it. And I need to work it out. I need to talk it out. And I have my own motherfucking podcast. So this is where I'm going to do it at. And hopefully y'all will listen. And at the end, provide me with some feedback and let me know what you think. So, when a family feuds. All right, y'all, here we go. So, to me, this whole saga, of course, you gotta go back to the beginning, right? So, let's talk about my childhood a little bit. I was raised by my mom, and I have three older siblings. I am the youngest of four. My brother is the oldest. Then I have an older sister. Then I have another sister. And then there's me. And it's about a 9-year difference between me and my next sister. So I am very squarely, firmly the baby, right? And I can say that I was always treated like the baby, maybe a little spoiled, people would say. I wouldn't say spoiled. I would just say because there was such a big age difference between me and my siblings that I spent more time with my mom because who else was I going to spend time with? I didn't really have anybody to play with. They were all so much older than me. And, in high school and then later, working and doing their own thing. So I did spend a lot of time by myself. I love to read. I read a lot. I was not a big outside kid. I did have some friends. They were siblings who lived in the building behind me, and I would go out and play with them in the summertime, a couple days a week sometimes. But that was it. Mostly I stayed in the house. I watched TV. I love TV, and I love to read. And when I did go out, it was mostly with my mom. She would take me to bookstores. We went to movies. We did shopping. We went out to eat a lot. We like to go to IHOP, and it was pretty good. I had a pretty good childhood in that nature. Um, Now, as far as emotional development in childhood, I can say that my household was not one where you really talked about how you felt. And I would say, when I say you talked about, I would meant the kids, or at least me. I won't try to speak to anybody else's experiences. Limited to mine. And for me, I really did not talk about how I felt about anything too much. Of course, my mother talked about how she felt about things that I did or things that were done. You always got her emotions, but I was never really encouraged to talk about how things affected me. So I guess even from a young age, I held a lot of stuff in. And I would say it's kind of like, I think I felt that expressing how I felt, especially if it was displeasure at something that my mom had done or said, or even like my sisters or my brother, it was seen as disrespectful. It was seen like, I was not staying in a child's place. It was seen as me maybe being too grown or having a smart mouth. So, like I said, I think I just learned from a young age not to talk about the way I felt, not to express if I felt something wrong was being done to me, not to express if I felt like I was being treated unfairly, or even just how I felt about anything. Like, I don't ever remember talking to my mom about stuff that was happening in the world, or even in my little world, like at school, or, we just didn't have that aspect to our relationship. It just always seemed as though, I'm trying to recall conversations that we had. Like, what would we talk about? I just feel like it was like mundane shit, or just, books that I had read. Like, oh, mom, let me tell you what happened in this book. Or I remember always running my mouth, if that makes any sense. But I don't remember those conversations really being of much substance, so to speak. Like, nothing heavy, nothing related to feelings or anything. So I would say that kind of carried on even all through high school. And we know in high school you have a lot of teenage feelings. They may be dumb teenage feelings, and you're all full of angst and anger and woe is me and why is this and oh my God, But again, I never felt like my mother was the one that I could say those things to. Now, I want to say, like, as I got older, I don't think I talked to her probably because the things that I wanted to talk about were not deemed appropriate for a mother daughter relationship. And I want to use this time to kind of talk about parents being friends to their children. So, I mean, I guess y'all all can see my mother was definitely not my friend. She was always my mother first, which I do not fault her for. But I just want y'all to think about, especially those of you who, like me, have a teenager, maybe tweaking the parameters of your relationship with your child. And not that you have to be their friend. And I guess if we think about what us being your child's friend means, it means that you don't give them any consequences, that there are no boundaries, that you kind of let them do whatever. But I want y'all to try to think of ways to redefine that relationship, because you can definitely still have boundaries. You can definitely still have rules. Your child can definitely know that you will still knock them the fuck out if they get out of line. But there is space in that relationship for you to say, talk to me, tell me what's going on. You can come to me and it not be weird, or it not be that, they don't have to think, oh, these are things I can't tell my parents. They don't have to think that it's disrespectful or rude or odd or anything. You can be a parent and you can still listen. And I think especially today that's so important, because when I think of the stuff that I probably would have wanted to talk to my mom about in high school, it probably is kind of dumb. Real stupid dumb high school shit, but when I think about kids today, and there are so many more influences, there are so many more questions. I mean, even today as an adult, like I have questions about um oh my god, gender and sex, and mean sex as in gender. What do people mean when they're non-binary, when they are gay and non-binary, gender fluid, and identifying as this and identifying as that, and it's just so many different things assailing kids today. And I really think that us as parents in this kind of new generation really need to maybe think about opening up more to our children, and not only opening up more to them so that they can come and talk to us, but opening up more about your life with them. I mean, I know that my mother was a younger woman at some point in her life. Yet, I don't know anything about her life as a young woman. I didn't know anything about her life as a teenager. And like, I don't think, like, now, if I share parts of my life as a teenager with my son, I don't think that that's stepping over a line. I think that is me trying to establish that I may not know all of what you're going through, but some of it I may have a little experience with, because I was a teenager too. And to me, some feelings that come along with being a teen are universal. They're just throughout every generation. So, like I said, I would say maybe try to redefine what you think being your child's friend, quote unquote, means. Yes, you can still be a parent, but you can still be open and share and let your kids share with you. And at the end, if you need to let them know, hey, listen, some shit is still off bounds or out of bounds. You still better listen to me, or because, I lay hands on you or I fuck you up. Still do that. But don't be so close. Like, share some mental space with your kids. Let them know what's going on within your family structure sometimes, within reason. And let them know that it's okay for them to talk to you about what's going on with them. Because growing up, I didn't really have that. I didn't know any of the, if she was going through any struggles, anything that was happening with my mother. And I certainly didn't share much with her. And I think that has persisted into my adult life, where, I still to this day don't know much about my mother as a teenager, as a young woman, as a young mother. I don't know. She doesn't share her life with me like that. And some ways in return, I kind of feel like now when she asks me questions about my life, like I kind of get a little defensive. Like, why should I share that with you? You certainly wouldn't tell me anything about you. So why is it that you feel you get to question me now? So I'm getting ahead. Okay, so let's see. All right, that's teenage years, that's college, all pretty much same. Teenage years, early 20s. I didn't really share much with her. We had a very smooth on the surface type of relationship. My mother would ask me to do things, and I would do them. And that was it. My mother has never driven a car. So when I got a car, take me here, take me there. Okay, I'll take you here, I'll take you there. She just would make requests of me, and I would do it. Holidays come up, there's, holiday party at this aunt's house, this uncle's house. We're going. So, um, let's see. Now, I will say for the better part of my 20s, I was in a long term relationship, which, looking back on, was quite fucking terrible. It was a majorly fucking terrible relationship. It was abusive, physically, verbally, mentally. It just, it was a bad fucking place to be in. And looking back on it, I can say that the only things that saved me probably from losing my fucking mind or being a totally different person is when I was going to school. I had Gavin when I was 24 or so, and I was going to school so I could have a career, so I could make sure I could always take care of my son, and that was really my driving focus. But I was in this relationship and I was dealing with that. And I just remember one time, uh, during this period, I was in school. I think I was working on my master's degree, and it was probably around finals time or something. And I just know I was just so stressed out. I was so busy with school. Like, school was just, it was taking up every waking moment that I had. And if it wasn't about school, it was about Gavin. But I think even at that time, school was taking over even mommy duties. And my mother, I come home to like get some clothes and stuff, and my mother wanted to have this talk with me. She was upset because she felt as though she the gist of the conversation was that she wanted to know that she was like still important to me. I know she said you have to let people know how you feel about them. And she was very upset because I hadn't been home much. I hadn't been, able around to do the things for her that she wanted me to do because school was a priority. And I remember telling her that Gavin came first, and then school, and then everything else in whatever order. And the look on her face, like she just seemed so hurt by that. And I didn't even understand it because I'm like, what, where do you think you are supposed to fit in? Like, yes, you are my mother, but I am a young woman. I'm a young mother. And I'm trying to get to a point that you have already been at in your life. You've already uh, obtained a career and been able to take care of your family. Like, I'm trying to get there. And I just did not understand how she could be upset with me for laboring toward that goal and not having time to come and, oh, mom, let me take you here. Let me do that for you. Oh, I love you. To me, it's like, you know, you know how I feel and you know what I'm doing. So I felt that it was just incredibly strange and selfish of her and just like, yo, leave me alone. Like, you're demanding this like tribute or something when I'm out here, trying to get my shit together. So that like always kind of stuck with me because I just felt like, oh my God, like what's to this lady? Like, what are you doing? What's going on? Why are you trying to slow me down so that you can have more? I don't know. Like, you like, she wanted my attention and I didn't have it to give. And I also didn't understand because I'm like, you're a grown woman. You're a grown woman, B. What are you doing? So anyway, let's move on. Fast forward, sail forward to finishing school and everything. And I'm working. Still at the beginning of my career, I was in this terrible fucking relationship. But I will say to you that in comparison to now and then, I could say I had a much more harmonious relationship with my mother and my sisters when I was struggling, when I wasn't done with school, when I was in that terrible relationship. Like, my relationship with them was much better because when I would come up for air and that inevitably something terrible was happening at home for me, and I would call them and I would call and I would vent and I would cry and I can't believe, or this is going on. And it was like this long saga, this just endless stream of just misery coming out of me. I was unfucking happy and I let it be known. And they were always there to hear it. Always, always supportive. Always, well, you should do this or you should do that, or, just always there. Now, I got out of that relationship. And like most terrible fucking people, when I tried to leave their relationship, there was a bit of stalking and harassment going on. So, in the midst of that, I met the man who would become my husband. And he was just wonderful. I adored him so much. I loved him probably not from the moment I met him, but pretty quickly after we started like kicking it, it was clear that like, this is the person for me. And I was so happy. And almost instantly, everybody else was so not happy. When I tell you the change in the relationship between me, my mom, and my sister was almost instantaneous. Like, the first time I brought him home to meet my mother, I think before we even got out the door good, leaving, I think she was on the phone with my sisters talking shit. And honestly, I think it is because I was so happy. You could probably see it on my face, hear it in my voice. It was a complete change from the person that I had been. And to her, that was not that wasn't good. For her, it signaled warning bells for her. And she immediately started to circle the wagons. she called up my sisters, and like I said, she talked her shit to them about him or whatever. So before they even met him, they had an idea from my mother. And I remember my not my older sister, but the next to older sister called me and said something so entirely disrespectful about him. It like I couldn't believe it. She and I had just left my mother's house. We were at Gavin's football practice, and she called me and she was like, "What are you doing? You don't take the toy." Talking about my future husband, you don't take the toy around your kids. Like, like this was somebody I couldn't be serious about. This was me just playing around or something. And that was so disrespectful and so hurtful. And I told her, and I remember telling her then, like, this is gonna be your brother-in-law. Like how, that's rude. You owe him an apology. Cause he heard it. His phone was on speaker, or we were in the car or some shit and it was on Bluetooth or something. Or no, I think it was just on speaker. And she said, and I told her that. And it was just like at that time I was, like, what the fuck? Who would say something like that? Why would you say something like that? And then, even if you thought that this was somebody I wasn't going to be serious with or whatever, how dare you call me and try to tell me who I do and don't have around my children? And then I was upset with my mom. The nerve of my mother to call and say whatever the fuck she said to get you to call me and say that dumb shit. So I was upset. And basically from there, the stage was set for all the bullshit that followed. And when I tell you, much bullshit ensued, y'all. Um, I mean, I guess you just know my mother and my sisters, they don't like my husband. Guess what? They don't care for them either. And so now we're going to take a pause to talk about how dislike goes two ways. If you don't like someone, y'all out there listening, listen to me. If you don't like somebody, best believe that that person knows that you don't like them. You probably have acted in such a way to let them know that you don't like them. They probably picked up on a vibe, or maybe somebody even told them. But understand this, you don't like them, and they do not motherfucking like you back. They will not kiss your ass to get you to like them. They don't give a fuck about you. And you cannot come and try to start acting normal or try to be like, oh, well, it's okay. I got over my feelings now and think everything will be okay. Because guess what? They haven't gotten over theirs. They still don't like your motherfucking ass. So don't come being on that fucking weirdo shit. Oh, well, it's okay. Or I can't believe they don't like me. Well, you don't like them. It's a two-way street. You're not out here disliking people and they just don't know about it. Or you're not out here disliking people and they just waiting to kiss your ass and get back in your good graces. No, most of them have said, well, fuck you too then, bitch. Okay? So I'm going to just leave that right there. And remember that as I keep talking about the way my family acts. Because they certainly act in a way of they don't like my husband. They have said things about my husband to me. They have cross-talk to each other and think that things have not gotten back to me. And then they try to act like when I don't come around or I don't want to be around them or we don't come around, they act like, oh, why? Oh my God, why? Because we ain't no fake ass motherfuckers over here. And we move as a unit. So if you don't like my husband, you have made it known. I'm not coming to your birthday party. I'm not coming to your housewarming. I'm not coming to your little holiday party. I'm not really engaging with you like that because I know how you feel about them. And I know that at some point throughout the evening, you're going to do or say something slick. And when he turns up on your ass, you gonna try to act like you gonna try to act like Lindsay Lohan when she put her hands on that woman's kids and that woman slapped the shit out of her. You gonna cry and act like you don't know why the hell and what the hell when you got exactly what you've been asking for. Okay? So now let's jump back into this. Where was I? Okay, so they don't like him and they've made it known that they don't like him. And this is kind of where we are, I guess. My problem with this is that when I tell y'all my husband is so generous, he is so sweet, he is beyond protective and caring. He and we laugh together, we have fun together, we thoroughly enjoy each other's company. This man has never made me cry. You know, we are just in love and it's genuine. And yes, we have our ups and downs. Nothing is perfection. But any day, even on our worst day, I would much rather be with him than be alone. I would much rather be with him than with anybody else. Even on our worst day, I am still in love with him like I was the day we got married. So, my feeling that way about this man and how this man makes me feel and positioning that next to how unhappy I was before and seeing how they are just so quick to be angry with me and judgmental and upset when I'm so happy that I don't get. I don't get. It could it be possible that they were happier seeing me miserable? And y'all are probably saying, no, whose family would do that? That sounds crazy. But listen, when I was miserable, I was actually more controllable. I was more ready and able to drop what I was doing and be at whomever's beck and call. I was more willing to sit on the phone for hours and try to help work out somebody else's life or problem, sit and talk about whatever, come from all the way out in the suburbs to pick my mother up and take her somewhere else or do something else. I was much more willing to do all of that because I was so miserable at home. I was so miserable where I was. But when that was over, I was done being miserable and I was being happy. Oh, nobody likes that shit. Can you imagine how hurtful that is? The people closest to you not liking to see you happy and to try. I do believe that my mother and my sisters tried their very hardest to sabotage my relationship before we got married. I think they wanted my husband gone, and I think they tried to get him gone. They tried any way they could through when working on me directly didn't work. Then they started in with the kids, and that's a big no no. And my husband and I got married. We are actually getting ready to celebrate our third wedding anniversary on October 10th. And one Saturday morning, we got up, we took our daughter with us in her car seat, and we went down to City Hall and we got married. Nobody else was there. I didn't tell anybody else. So, one of the happiest days of my life, I couldn't even share with them because they were so negative and so angry. I remember when he first asked me to marry him, we were going to go and get our marriage license and try to get married like at the upcoming weekend. And my mother said, oh, please don't do it this weekend. I want to be there and I got something important to do. I just can't but please don't get married this weekend. You know what the fuck she had to do? She was going on a fucking casino trip. That is what she had to do that was so important that she begged me not to get married because she had already committed to do something. That shit ain't important. Not at all. It's not more important than your daughter pledging her life to somebody, but the point is, you didn't want me to get married, period. So when you thought it was going to happen, you wanted to try to postpone it with this bullshit excuse to I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what she thought. Maybe she could talk me out of it later. I don't know. The point is, they were much more happy when I was much more miserable. And I don't want to say much more miserable like I'm a little miserable now, but when I was in the worst, darkest place in my life, they were much more happy with me. And now that I am personally happy, they are very much not happy with me. So fast forward to now. Um, you know what? No, let's not fast forward to now. Let's go back a little bit. Because even when things between us were bad, we still talked or communicated. So this is what happened. My mother and my husband got into a bit of a argument. Kind of a big argument. Okay. So now, let me take a second to say, yes, older people want to be respected as elders. And oh, you should respect your elders. We are all taught that, and we try to respect older people. But let me say this to you older people. You can't be out here wilding out saying anything to anybody and you want to hide behind that respect your elder shit. If you want respect, you still have to remember to give respect, especially to other adults. You can't be out here talking to adults like they kids. You can't be out here just fucking bursting up in people's homes and shit, running your fucking mouth, and then you want to say what you have to say, then back out and don't say shit else to me. No, no, no. Sorry. It doesn't work that way. So let's jump back into the story. So they got into a bit of a verbal altercation. And of course, because my mother is used to nobody saying anything to her, she just wanna say what she wanna say, no matter how rude, disrespectful, no matter how full of lies it is. She couldn't take my husband responding. So of course she goes, and what she do, she gets on the phone and she calls my sisters and God knows whomever else, but definitely them, and she tells them what happened, her version of what happened, which is full of exaggerations, half truths, and dare I say, probably even a few lies. Am I calling my mother a liar? Listen, yes, she's lied about some things. If you don't want to be called a liar, then don't lie. So the problem with that is you are upset and you are emotional in that moment, and you say these things and you say them to my sisters. Well, later, because there's eventually a later when her and my husband bury the hatchet, when her and I are in a better place where we've forgiven each other. But guess what? My sisters have not forgiven me. You have forever altered my relationship with them because you were upset. You didn't go back and try to repair what you said. You left it there because you need them to still have ill will toward me. So now we've made up, but they still feel the way they feel about me. They still feel the way they feel about my husband. Okay, fine. So you have essentially isolated me from the rest of my immediate family. And it was even at one time, I have a older niece and a nephew, children of my sisters that I was close to. For a long time that relationship had been altered because kids are going to go with They're parents, you know. Um, there was a period where I had to kind of get them together a little bit because they got out of pocket to me, because still I didn't say anything to them about the situation at all. But like I said, their parents talked to them, and then they chose to air their displeasure to me. And I just felt like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm still your aunt. I didn't talk to you about this. I didn't bring this to you. And it is completely out of your place to tell me how you feel about my relationship at all, you fucking little baby. So, I mean, my nephew and I have gotten back to a good relationship. My relationship with my niece is still on very shaky ground. We used to talk to each other a few times a week. Now we're lucky if we talk to each other once a month. It's kind of gotten down to special occasions like birthdays and stuff. But, and that's the way it is with my sisters as well. Actually, my older sister is not talking to me at all right now. She has blocked me. I guess I don't exist to her. My other sister has not gone so far as to block me, and my birthday just passed, and she did tell me happy birthday. But we used to talk every day, and we are kind of just at special occasions, like birthdays or whatever. And I'm not gonna say I don't know why, because I've told y'all why I think it is, and I have put my pride to the side, and I think I've tried to reach out. But I'm at a point where I'm just kind of like, fuck it. Fuck it all. I didn't do anything wrong. All I did was fall in love. And all y'all did was not like it. And then try to tell me how much you didn't like it. And then got mad because I pretty much told you through my words and through my actions, to fuck off. The very downside to this is that I'm not a confrontational person, and I don't like being in situations where I feel uncomfortable or it's tension. So when there are big family gatherings, I pretty much stay away. So I have, essentially like alienated myself from my entire extended family, which I love and I miss them. But, if it means that I have to even be in the same room sometimes with my sisters, or even be around my mom for an extended period of time, it I just don't think it's worth it. And so things like right now, like I said, things are kind of bad right now. And that's especially difficult because we're getting ready to head into the holiday season. So I'm facing another Thanksgiving and Christmas not really being around family. And that's hard for me because as much as I try to act like it doesn't matter, my husband always says, you love your family, you're a family person. And I am. But I'm also not um, a pushover. Is that the word I want to use? I'm not a doormat. And I'm the little sister, but I'm not a little kid. I'm not a baby. You cannot talk to me any kind of way and get away with it. And I mean, that's just it. That's where we are now. So the family, I wouldn't even say that we're feuding. We're just not talking to each other. And this is the reason why. Because we were not taught to ever talk about things that hurt us. We were not taught to try to work things out. It was just if somebody hurt your feelings or you got upset, it's just kind of like you work it out on your own, you get over it, and then you resume that relationship. Well, I'm not willing to do that right now. And as a matter of fact, with my sister, my oldest sister, I'm just going to tell y'all, she is not talking to me because my husband does not like her fake fiance slash boyfriend. And my husband don't like her fake fiance because I don't like him. And we are a unit. And if I don't like him, and my husband knows that I am a good person and I rarely dislike anybody, like you really have to give me a reason. I rarely dislike anybody. For me not to fuck with him, he's like, okay, well, off bat, that tells me this somebody I'm not gonna fuck with. And this is my wife. That's how he feels. Right? I said right, he's not saying nothing, but he agrees. That's kind of just how we roll. So it comes to her attention that my husband doesn't like her fake fiance. So she texts me while I'm at work in the middle of the day to ask me about this fucking high school ass shit. Listen here. I work at work. I have things to do. And, I don't sit behind a desk all day. I have to interact with people and patients. And I kind of feel offended that, my mother does this too, will kind of try to text me back and forth while I'm at work, like, yo, leave me alone. I got shit to do. I have an important job. It is important to the people that I am helping. And I it is unprofessional and I don't have time to go back and forth with you. Especially, if it's an emergency, if it's something regarding the kids or whatever, okay, fine. But to go back and forth with you over what I deem stupid high school shit. I'm just trying to figure out why, Vaughn has a problem with girl. This really sounds like we are in the 10th grade. So when I finally get back to her, my entire stance on the situation is I don't know, one, why anybody is surprised. Two, I don't like him. Three, he don't like me. This goes back to just like being a two-way street. I don't like him and he don't like me either. So why is it a surprise that my husband does not like him? And that was just so offensive to her. It was completely offensive to her. Well, he don't never have to come over your house and what some other crazy shit she texted me. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I'm sure he doesn't care that he never has to come over to my house. Cause he don't want to. And I don't want him here. I mean, y'all, this is somebody who, when he would show up to family functions separate from her in a different car and come and just get a plate and leave early. I mean, what that sound like to you? But, we did not speak at all. We did not have conversations. This is not somebody that I have ever liked, ever had much interaction with. I think we used to cordially speak to each other, and I think we even just kind of got away from that. Like, why even do that shit? So she's all surprised acting. Well, my mother is all surprised acting, and she's all surprised acting, and I can't believe. And I thought we could talk about stuff like adults. What do we need to talk about? I don't like him, and I won't. And if I won't, my husband don't. He never will, and that is fine with me. Because, hello, how many years now? I told y'all we getting ready to celebrate our third wedding anniversary. How many years have y'all collectively not liked my husband and told me about it? And I did not call you acting all surprised and upset and hurt by this information. I just left y'all to fuck alone and hope that you would leave me alone. But now you want to not talk to me because it has been discovered allegedly, because to me it's always been known that we don't like him. Well, so that's where we are now. And I could say I don't care about it, but I do. I don't care about it enough to try to fix it because, for one, I feel like I knew anything wrong. I'm not apologizing when I didn't do anything wrong. Am I being prideful? Maybe, perhaps, but I don't give a fuck. She's an older sister. She's the one who initiated this. I'm going to block you. Really? Is this a blockable offense? Really? Because I feel like shit y'all have said and done has been blockable over the years, but I declined to do that. So I feel like if you can so easily and so readily throw away our sisterhood over this sketchy ass nigga, yeah, I said it, he's sketchy to me. Fuck it. It is what it is. So, as we head into the holiday season, I guess, my little family will be staying home and having our own dinner and making our own traditions. Or maybe we'll go out somewhere. Or maybe one of y'all can invite us to your house because I certainly will not be with family this year yet again. So I'm not apologizing. I don't think we have done anything wrong. But I want to use this um show too as an opportunity to kind of impart some wisdom. So let me say this. Where I think I perhaps did go wrong in this entire situation, like the entire scope of the situation is, I think at times I let things get too far before I stepped in and said something. I because I was not taught or ever encouraged to express how I felt to somebody in my family, or especially if it was a negative feeling, I was reluctant to have those conversations. And I think that if I had, some things may not have gotten as far as they did. So, this is what I want to encourage y'all to do. Say something. If something is upsetting to you, if it does not make you happy, if you feel like your family, your friends are acting a certain way, say something, try to work it out, try to get to the bottom of it. Don't let things go so far where your ego and your pride are stopping you from trying to fix it. Because even in this situation, I think maybe it's a little of that. When you are used to not talking to somebody, when you make that the normal, that becomes comfortable and it's harder to try to go back and fix it. So don't let things get that far. Don't let them get to a point where it's strange or it takes you outside of your comfort zone to try to fix it. Cause I mean it's really not worth it. So where does that leave us now? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe things will get worked out. I think if it's left to me, it won't be because I'm not interested right now. I don't believe in those come to Jesus moments where we all sit around and drink flavored coffee and cry and I'm sorry. I don't believe in the show and the spectacle of all that. Like I don't believe in all that. Call me, text me, come to me privately and have a talk if you want to, but I don't do that whole let's have a family talk or intervention. No, because I'm gonna feel attacked because everybody is on one side and I'm on the other. So I don't like that shit. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know, but I know I keep y'all updated with what happens. And if you wanna talk to me about it, if you wanna express your opinion, you can certainly let me know on the True Opinion website or on True Opinion Podcast on Instagram, True Opinion Show on Twitter. I'm always around on all the social media, so drop me a line, tell me what you think. And that's it. All right. Bye, y'all.